A man has been arrested after driving through a military checkpoint, getting close to an aircraft at a base in Suffolk used by the U.S. Air Force. Shots were fired by U.S. personnel before the 44-year-old British man was overcome by staff at RAF Mildenhall. The base was temporarily put into lockdown as Suffolk police responded to reports of what they called a significant incident. Police said the incident was being treated as trespass, not terrorism. Superintendent Kim Warner, from Suffolk Police, said the man, who suffered cuts and bruises, was arrested after a short pursuit and his vehicle was stopped by U.S. security services. There was no obvious motive at this stage, he said, adding there was no wider threat to the public or the base and police were not looking for anyone else. The vehicle was brought to a halt close to a U.S. plane, an Osprey, and it was not thought there was any significant damage to the vehicle or the aircraft, Superintendent Warner said. Suffolk Police was notified about a breach of security at about 13:40 GMT. Shots were fired by U.S. security. I don't know how many, but I do know that shots were fired, Superintendent Warner said. It would be fair to say some of the minor injuries were probably as a result of him being apprehended, he added. The superintendent said there would now be an internal investigation by the U.S. airbase into why guns were discharged. Police are continuing to deal with an ongoing incident at RAF Mildenhall. It is considered that there is no wider threat to the public or occupants on the base. One man has been arrested, and police are not looking for anyone else on the site. Read more, https://tco/skjont. End of Twitter post by @Suffolk Police. RAF Mildenhall is protected by Ministry of Defense Police and U.S. Armed Guards. The U.S. Air Force said in a statement it was continuing to work with local authorities. The base is used as a transport hub by the U.S. and is home to a fleet of refueling aircraft and special operations forces. It has about 3,200 military personnel, with 400 to 500 UK civilian staff employed there. The base was one of 56 mod sites earmarked for closure. However, the U.S. Air Force said in September it was delaying plans to relocate its operations to a base in Germany until 2024. RAF Mildenhall has previously been a potential target for a terror attack against U.S. military personnel. In May 2016, Junaid Khan was given a life sentence for preparing terrorist acts after a court heard how he used his job as a delivery driver to gather information about the base. Rules of engagement. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East defense reporter. It's highly unusual for shots to be fired by U.S. personnel. That said, in the past few years security has been stepped up at the U.S. base, which now has a much tighter perimeter. You can't just drive into the base, you have to go through what's called the shed, your car is checked and you have to go through lots of tight security measures. RAF Mildenhall is essentially a little piece of America, with more than 3,000 U.S. personnel based here, and there's very close cooperation between the American military police and the British civilian police. U.S. bases here are governed by the Status of Forces Act, so there are very clear rules of engagement here, with certain protocols in place when it comes to the discharge of firearms.